I feel like this song fits really well to the speed drop. But also, hey, it's 27.2 for write once, read many. Okay, well, for the future listeners, the audience participation reminder, the question is, which character do you think has the most practical reaction on the spectrum of people dealing with the losses of both those that they know directly and the mass civilian deaths of for example, all of the UK being destroyed at the same time? I really like this part. Anyway. So, for themes, I wrote down compromise, because they do kind of come to a consensus, and what Tattletale does with Bonesaw, they do kind of come to a compromise in a way. It's roundabout, you know. Boop. And there's the final version of the art. And then interpersonal cape dynamics, we get to see like a bunch of people like kind of pinging off each other, trying to keep things as level as they can. And then responsibility / blame / forgiveness. And I think all of these things are sort of represented with not only the Bonesaw portion, but also the reviewing of Saint's actions after kind of killing Dragon. You know, Dragon's down, but maybe not forever out. So, it's like nebulous. This could be a kill if they never had, you know, if he was not convinced by the weight of the group to acquiesce and give her back in some capacity later, which I guess spoilers, Dragon kind of comes back later. But like, you know, his responsibility for not running the defenses that she had set up as well as she would have. And ironically, for the fact that he was so afraid of AI messing everything up, he put the controls into the hands of a weaker, like less competent AI, and the way that it doomed them was by not doing the job competently, which ironically is more in line with real world AI, where as smart as they want you to think that those large language models are, they're just weird parrots. They're just like spitting out strings of nonsense at you. So I think that they're more likely to build AIs that like don't work, but like I don't know. I just mean in real life. When I'm talking about Dragon being good, it's in a theoretical sense where she's pretty far removed from what we have as a possibility in the real world for AI. So I don't want to get that twisted. Um, bup, 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 bup. I mean, even her sort of sub AIs and stuff that she hands down into the dragon ships is clearly much more competent and put together than anything we have going. And because they're using space technology instead of real world technology, she seemingly doesn't have the same kind of energy concerns as we have in real life. So, although she does have like offsite data centers later on that they mention, maybe we'll circle back. Maybe she is environmentally unfriendly. We'll see. Um. But anyway, I'm getting totally off track. The responsibility, blame. Hello, Vic. You got here just in time to miss me saying that maybe Dragon is does take up too much power and is unethical for the environment. But we'll see how we feel later on. But continuing to finish out talking about responsibility, blame, and forgiveness. When they talk about releasing some prisoners from the birdcage and from other prisons, then they kind of have this idea to go to the people who are most related to the victims and related to the cases and see if they think that forgiveness should be doled out as part of the way to scrape through the cases as fast as possible. So, just like a lot of things in Parahumans, it's meant to seem like really bleak and bad, but it actually comes off as much more humanistic than what would happen in real life. So, Worm's weird like that. So getting into the chapter proper, we start where the cauldron meeting, like they actually walk in and such, and Taylor sees that there's 13 groupings of people and like 13 little zones for people to stand, and she stands with the Undersiders, of course. They seem to all be there, all the top tier Undersiders, so it's Tattletale, Gru, Parian, Foil, Rachel, and Imp, although Imp may be hiding, so the only time they mention her is kind of at the end of the chapter. So they take their place, and it is as you see here with Tattletale as the lead for their team. Vic says, Imp is standing directly in the middle of the room the whole time. Exactly. Everyone is talking directly to Imp. Boop, boop, boop. So then they see, she sees the different logos. Their logo is the Undersiders. It's an even more stylized gang tag than before. And then, Taylor is suppressing her impulses to yell at everyone. And she's generally focused on just staying calm. That's her primary interest, and so she is trying to examine things. Oh no, the dog wants in. And will surely want out in just a minute. Anyway, so we see all sorts here. We see Dr. Mother, Contessa, and Numberman from Cauldron. We see Chevalier, Revel, Exalt, Golem, and then later Tecton also mentions things. They keep saying, like, the majority of these groups have a bunch of people she's not mentioning, just because that way it's not just a huge list of names. There's the guild. Defiant is the only one from the guild who talks, but they also have Narwhal and Mazamune there. And the Dragon's Tooth soldier who got Jack in the end. But then, you know, as Taylor's entering, Defiant is continuing a sustained verbal assault on Saint, talking about how even if you take out all the, like, anything about liking Dragon, even if you take all that aside, Saint is a huge fuck up, and he can't operate the controls fast enough on the control panel, so a whole bunch of people died in New York, 2.2 million or whatever, and he's gonna remember that. The score will be kept. And then Saint turns off his mic, and as Defiant goes to yell at Saint Moore, Tattletale tells him that he muted him. So Defiant then just intimidating poses with his spear instead. And then they've left out the birdcage capes in this case, but they have brought, let's see here, they brought the Tanda, they brought Mordnog, they brought the Yangban, they brought the Elite, they brought some various independent heroes who, I don't know if they have their own, they must have their own panels or something, but yeah, the Elite, and then the independent heroes are Adalid, who I've never heard of aside from this, Khalifa de Pero. I mean, I think both of them were maybe mentioned in the Konsu chapter. Like Khalifa de Pero definitely, but Adalid, I'm just now ringing a bell that he may have also been in that sequence. There's a flippin' panel for Fault Line's crew, which includes Dinah now. What? Dinah hangs out with Fault Line's crew? That's crazy. The Suits, the Blasphemies, which are one of the listed S-class threats, so seemingly willing to come to the table and not just auto-kill people, so they're not like the what do you call them? So the Endbringers. Anyway, so we got all these flippin' people, and they keep getting introduced little by little. And then let's see here, yeah. And I may be repeating myself, but Bonesaw's here. In a solo area for the Nine as the only representative of them. Which, of course, is why Brian is all extra darknessy, extra greasy, and Harrian and Tattletale and Taylor are all a little extra riled up because of this too. Oh, yep. Vic says Harrian is all fluttery. Exactly. All murdery. Let's see here. apparently she's been pre-checked by Cauldron, and we of course already know from Bonesaw's chapter that Cauldron has kind of been working on getting Bonesaw to give over the control switch to all the clones she made who remain. Let's see here. And then Taylor has a really strong negative reaction to this, to the point where Tattletale asks if she needs to like walk out into the hall, and then Taylor's like, "No, I'm gonna stay." And then she thinks back on Gru getting freezered. It's like getting fridged, but worse. And then, you know, this is when the Young Band show up, and the Elite show up. We get some names of the Elite. Nonpareil, maybe? Patrician, Agnes Court, and Blue Blood. I feel like Agnes Court may be pronounced some crazy French way or something, but whatever. And then, boop, boop, boop. Yeah, the South American capes, the heroes kind of show up. And then the suits are here. She says that 3 of the suits are missing, but that means that, because she lists off 8 suits, that there's like 5 groups that all still have leaders, even though the UK was blown up. So that's kind of crazy. None of the King's men had made it, I guess, so the whole faction wiped out. The 3 blasphemies, as mentioned, and they're like weird tinker robots. And then yeah, the irregulars show up for the final spot, and then we see Weld is wearing Sveta as like an outfit, as like a kind of a shirt, and she looks forward from him. I mean, there's like there's close couples, and then there's this is a whole nother level, an entire nother. Weld is pulling a Bayonetta. That's true, except it's like if Bayonetta's clothes were made from somebody else's hair, and that other person rode on the front of Bayonetta looking outward. Which, I don't know, maybe that's in the sequel. So yeah, then there's several others, including Gully. And then you know, Dr. Mother sort of starts off the meeting, kind of, and then Weld starts off at, let's say, a 7. He says, "I'm trying to think of why I shouldn't tell my irregulars to murder you 3 right here." That's right. I'm just like Rain. I can't read this and have a Boston accent. I just do shitty Australian instantly. I think we all know this. Vic says he's a little Australian. Yeah, exactly. The doctor didn't reply. So, yeah, he keeps yelling at them, saying he knows their the powers of Contessa and Numberman and stuff. And then the doctor name drops the custodian, which is the air cape, who's made of air, that swoops around doing stuff inside of the Cauldron facility. And you know, they're going back and forth a bit. And Weld thinks that they actually like are at fault for causing Scion to happen, at all, which, like, I guess I kind of understand the suspicion level of that, but, like, we know as the audience that, like, that doesn't track at all. But they just don't have, a clear, full-size picture. And they, she claims that there are several sources that in the birdcage. We know that Amy and Marquis know about Scion, and that they were forced to keep quiet by Dr. Mother in previous meetings, and that the information when trying to get it directly to the dragon was censored by the Seamerg, who deliberately altered her path to do so. And then now on the outside there's Cauldron